Okay, this is my fancy Photoshop trick. So when you have a folder of images that you want all of them to be the same size but smaller than what they are or bigger than what they are, the first thing you do is open Photoshop and grab one of the images. Once that loads, you can go in here. I'm going to clear that. Okay, so you go into Actions, and if that's not showing, you can go under Window and make sure Actions is showing. It's Alt F9, and then I have all of mine already like this under Created, but you can just make a new folder and then a new action. I'm going to put mine under here. I'm going to say whatever I'm doing. So say I want they're like 4,000 pixels wide and I want them all to be 1920 because they're going to end up being background images. Then I'll do resize 1920 wide, something like that, and put them under my created folder and click record. So next thing I'm going to do is go to image, image size, and then change this to make sure that the resolution is 72. That's the first thing. So if it was like at 300, I would change this and I would go 72 because that automatically changes the width and height. Then I'm going to go here and put 1920 and then click OK. And that just resized them like that. So all I have to do is click the stop button over here and it'll stop recording my action. So now if I close this and say no, I'm going to go down to File, Scripts, Image Processor, select the folder that I'm working with, which I have open over here. So I'm going to go in here, copy this path, paste it here, click Enter, and say OK. So that's the folder that all of the items are in. Save them in the same location, that's fine. Save them as a JPEG with quality 10 instead of 12, because that makes it a little smaller. And then run action and go down to resize 1920 wide, and click run. And it's just going to do its thing and go through all of the images. And it creates a new JPEG folder within the folder that you are working in and uploads all of the images there. So I'm going to let it keep running and go over here so you can see JPEG, and all of them are adding in here. And it keeps them named the same. So you're not going to have any obvious thing that's telling you like these images are different than these images, except the fact that you look over here on the size and these ones are massive and these ones are not. So the next thing that you can do is make sure that these are named properly. So I go over here and say this is the main image for the home page. I would go and click home and then top 1, something like that. Home top 1, and then maybe underscore store interior. That way, if I ever need to search for a name of something, I can look for store, I can look for home, I can look for top, any of those things. So there's that. Another fancy thing that you can do is rename a bunch of images in a row. So say all of these are going to be home. You can actually select all of them, right click and say rename and put home and click enter, and it does this where it puts the little parentheses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you can go in and just add what they are with that. So I'm going to go over here to large icons, refresh that so they look better. So this would be home 2, and we could do home office meeting, something like that. Home work remote, something like that, you know. And all that jazz. So that's another way to make it so that all of them get renamed a lot quicker and it's a little less work. This only really works for batch processing though. So if you need to resize one image to be 1920 wide, one image to be 700 wide, one image to be 300 wide, I wouldn't do a script for that unless you have a pile of images that all need to be the same width or the, you know, that sort of thing. Otherwise, it's faster to just go in here, drag and drop the original image. Fun fact, to get to the image sizing, you can hold Alt-Control-I at the same time and it just pops up. And then you can resize this to what it needs to be, just like that, and hold Control-Shift-S to save it as something else. So then it'd be like whatever the name is, underscore, I don't even know what I just did, 500 wide, something like that, and then make sure it's 10. voila. So those are a couple of different tricks that I use and some shortcuts. Hope that helps, and have a lovely afternoon.